Your life right now is the result of what you repeat every day, not your dreams, not your intentions, your repeats. Look at your habits closely, the way you wake up, the way you handle stress, the way you spend your free time. These small patterns are shaping your future quietly. Most people ignore them because they look ordinary, but ordinary actions decide extraordinary results. Here is the truth most people avoid. Big change feels exciting, but it rarely lasts. Small change feels boring, but it builds power. When you improve just 1% each day, you do not shock your system. You train it, you build proof, you build belief, you start trusting yourself because you see progress with your own eyes. Think about this. What if you focused on one small upgrade today, one better decision, one stronger response, one completed task? That single move shifts your direction. In this video, you will understand how becoming 1% better every day becomes the real key to continuous success. Not pressure, not hype, just steady growth that compounds into a life you are proud of. Chapter 1. Rewire your thoughts through small daily wins. I want you to understand something very simple and very powerful. Your life today is the result of how you have been thinking every single day, not once in a while, not only when you feel inspired. Every day, the thoughts you repeat become beliefs. The beliefs you accept guide your actions, and your actions create your results. If you want continuous success, you do not begin by trying to change your entire life in one dramatic move. You begin by changing the way you think in small moments. You rewire your thoughts through small daily wins. The human mind is shaped by repetition. If you wake up and the first thing you tell yourself is that you are tired, behind, unlucky, or not good enough, your body listens, your emotions follow, your behavior adjusts, you move slower, you hesitate, you doubt, and at the end of the day, you collect proof that supports those thoughts. But when you wake up and you make one small promise and keep it, something shifts inside you. It might be as simple as getting out of bed when the alarm rings. It might be making your bed neatly. It might be drinking water instead of reaching for your phone. It seems small, it feels ordinary, but your brain records it as a win, and every win sends a message. The message is this: I do what I say I will do. That message is powerful. Most people are not defeated by big failures. They are slowly weakened by small broken promises to themselves. When you say you will start tomorrow and you do not, your brain notices. When you say you will eat better and you quit by evening, your brain notices. When you say you will work on your goals and you scroll for hours instead, your brain notices, and it builds a belief. The belief becomes, I cannot trust myself. Continuous success begins when you reverse that belief, and you do not reverse it with one grand achievement. You reverse it with small daily wins. A small daily win is something you can control. It is something you decide and complete within the same day. It is clear, it is measurable, it is simple. When you complete it, you feel it in your body. You feel a quiet sense of strength. Your shoulders feel lighter. Your breathing feels steady. Your thoughts become calmer. That is not by accident. That is your brain rewarding you for progress. Progress builds confidence. Confidence changes behavior. When you win in small areas, your mind starts to expect success. You begin to approach tasks differently. Instead of asking, what if I fail? You begin asking, how can I make this better? Instead of thinking, this is too hard, you think, I handled yesterday, I can handle today. That shift in thinking is the foundation of continuous success. The mind can be trained. It can also be neglected. If you feed it doubt, comparison, and excuses, it will grow those. If you feed it discipline, effort, and completion, it will grow those. Think about the last time you finished something you said you would finish. Maybe it was a workout. Maybe it was reading 10 pages. Maybe it was finishing a project at work, even when you were tired. Remember how it felt. There was a quiet pride. There was energy. There was a sense of control. That feeling is not random. That feeling is the result of alignment between your words and your actions. Small daily wins create alignment. When your words and actions match, you build self-respect. And self-respect changes everything. You stand taller, you speak with clarity, you make decisions faster, you stop waiting for permission. You cannot wait until you feel motivated to change your thinking. Motivation is unstable. It rises and falls. Discipline creates stability. Small wins create discipline. Start with one thought you want to change. Maybe you often think, I am not disciplined. Instead of fighting that thought directly, prove it wrong in small ways. Choose one action each day that demonstrates discipline. Wake up at the time you set. Complete one focused task without distraction. Stop eating when you are full. Finish what you start. At the end of the day, review it. Say to yourself, I kept my word today. That is how you rewire a belief. The brain changes through evidence. It believes what you show it repeatedly. Many people try to change their life with strong emotions. They get excited, they write big goals, they promise dramatic change. Then they become overwhelmed. When they miss a day, they feel guilt. Guilt turns into shame. Shame turns into quitting. Small daily wins remove that cycle. They are realistic. They are repeatable. They are achievable even on difficult days. On days when you feel tired, your win might be smaller, but it must exist. Even if it is a short walk, even if it is 5 minutes of reading, even if it is choosing calm over anger in one conversation, the size does not matter, the consistency does. Consistency trains identity. You do not rise to the level of your hopes. You live at the level of your habits, and habits are built from repeated small actions. When you win daily, you start to see yourself differently. You stop saying, I am trying to improve. You start saying, I improve daily. That shift is powerful. It changes your standards. Standards determine your future. When your standard becomes daily progress, you no longer accept long periods of neglect. You no longer tolerate weeks of excuses. You feel uncomfortable when you skip growth. That discomfort is healthy. It means your identity has changed. Continuous success is not built in 1 year. It is built in 1 day, repeated many times. Every evening, take a few minutes to review your small win. Close your eyes and replay it in your mind. Feel the satisfaction again. Let it sink in. This strengthens the neural path in your brain. You are teaching your mind to associate effort with reward. Over time, effort feels normal. Growth feels natural. Pay attention to your self-talk. It shapes your emotional state. If you catch yourself thinking, I am behind, pause and replace it with, I made progress today. If you think, this is too much, shift it to, I will take 1 step. You are not lying to yourself. You are directing your focus. The mind believes what it hears often. Speak to yourself with honesty and strength, not with harshness, not with weakness, with strength. When you make a mistake, do not attack yourself. Analyze it calmly. Decide the next action, then execute. That process builds emotional control. Emotional control is a major part of daily wins. If you can pause before reacting, you have won. If you can choose patience instead of anger, you have won. If you can choose work instead of distraction, you have won. These are internal victories. They shape your character. Character drives long-term success. You may not see dramatic results in the first week. That is normal. Growth is often quiet at the beginning, but inside, something is changing. Your confidence is increasing. Your focus is improving. Your discipline is strengthening. After weeks of daily wins, your posture changes. You walk differently. You speak with more certainty. Others notice. They feel your energy. It is not loud. It is steady. That steadiness comes from proof. You have proof that you can rely on yourself. And when you rely on yourself, you do not panic when challenges appear. You do not collapse when plans change. You adapt. You adjust. You act. That is the key to continuous success. It is not intensity. It is steady improvement. It is daily alignment between thought and action. Wake up each morning with one clear intention. Complete it. Protect it. Finish it. At night, acknowledge it. Repeat. Day by day, your thinking becomes stronger. You expect progress. You search for opportunities to improve. You stop looking for comfort. You look for growth. Rewire your thoughts through small daily wins, and you will build a life of continuous success. Not because of luck, not because of talent, but because you trained your mind to believe in your ability to improve. And once your mind believes that, there is very little that can stop you.
Chapter 2. Train your brain to crave steady progress. Success is not built on sudden bursts of effort. It is built on what you learn to enjoy every single day. If your brain only feels excited when something big happens, you will struggle. Big moments are rare. Progress is daily. So the real question is this: have you trained your brain to crave steady progress? The human brain is always chasing a reward. It looks for what feels good. For many people, that reward comes from comfort, distraction, or quick pleasure. Checking the phone, watching another video, eating something sweet, complaining and getting sympathy. These are fast rewards. They require little effort. Your brain learns quickly. It says, "This feels good, do it again." If you want continuous success, you must teach your brain to feel good about growth instead of comfort. That is training. That is conditioning. And it is possible for anyone. Your brain releases chemicals when you complete something meaningful. You feel a lift in your chest. You feel alert. You feel proud. That feeling is not reserved for major achievements. It can be triggered by small steps forward. The key is awareness and repetition. When you complete a task that moves you closer to your goal, pause for a moment. Do not rush to the next thing. Stand still. Feel the satisfaction. Tell yourself clearly, this is progress. That short pause strengthens the connection in your brain. It links effort with reward. Most people skip this step. They finish one task and immediately look at what is missing. They focus on what is not done. They say, "This is not enough." The brain then associates effort with pressure instead of pleasure. Over time, it resists effort. If you want to crave progress, you must celebrate movement, not perfection. Start by defining what steady progress means in your life. It is not extreme change. It is measurable improvement. If you want to get healthier, progress might be walking 20 minutes daily. If you want to grow your income, progress might be learning one new skill each week. If you want better relationships, progress might be listening without interrupting. Clarity trains the mind. When the brain knows what counts as progress, it can recognize it. Set clear daily targets that stretch you slightly but do not overwhelm you. When the target is realistic, your brain believes it is possible. When you hit it, your confidence grows. Confidence fuels repetition. Repetition creates desire. Think about how habits form. At first, effort feels uncomfortable. You have to push yourself. After a while, it becomes normal. Eventually, it feels strange not to do it. That shift happens because the brain adapts. It learns that this activity leads to positive emotion. The same can happen with growth. At the beginning, working out may feel heavy, studying may feel boring, practicing a skill may feel frustrating, but if you focus on the small improvement after each session, your brain starts to look forward to that improvement. It begins to expect it. Expectation shapes behavior. When you expect growth, you seek it. When you seek it, you find opportunities to improve in small ways. You become curious instead of defensive. Feedback no longer feels like an attack. It feels like information. That is a powerful mental shift. Your environment plays a major role in this training process. If you surround yourself with people who complain and settle, your brain will normalize stagnation. If you spend time with people who talk about goals, discipline, and learning, your brain will normalize improvement. You do not have to change your entire social circle overnight, but you can change what you consume. Listen to conversations that challenge you. Read books that expand your thinking. Watch content that encourages action. The brain absorbs what it sees and hears repeatedly. The more you expose yourself to growth-focused messages, the more natural progress feels. Another important step is tracking. The brain loves visible evidence. When you track your actions, you turn invisible effort into visible proof. A simple checklist can change your mindset. Each mark on that list becomes a signal to your brain. It says, you are moving forward. There is something powerful about seeing a chain of completed days. It creates momentum. You do not want to break the chain. That desire is psychological. It pushes you to act even when you feel lazy. You are not trying to become obsessed. You are trying to build a pattern. Patterns create identity. When progress becomes part of your identity, you stop negotiating with yourself every day. You no longer ask, should I work on my goals? You ask, what is my next step? Steady progress also requires patience. The brain is impatient by nature. It wants quick results. If you expect dramatic change every week, you will become discouraged. Discouragement weakens motivation. Shift your focus from outcome to input. Instead of asking, did I achieve the big result yet? Ask, did I complete today's improvement? This reduces pressure and increases consistency. Over time, small inputs compound, skills sharpen, knowledge deepens, discipline strengthens. The change may feel slow at first, but it becomes undeniable. Your emotional response to setbacks is also critical. If you miss a day, do not label yourself as a failure. That label damages your training. Instead, respond with calm correction. Say to yourself, "Today was off track. Tomorrow I return to my standard." Then follow through. Resilience builds trust in your own system. The brain learns from how you react. If you respond to mistakes with shame, it will associate growth with pain. If you respond with problem solving, it will associate growth with strength. Another powerful way to train your brain is through reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself one question: where did I improve today? It may be a small improvement. Maybe you stayed focused for an extra 10 minutes. Maybe you handled stress more calmly. Maybe you learned one new concept. Write it down. When you write it, you deepen the imprint in your mind. You create a record of progress. Over weeks and months, that record becomes proof of transformation. Proof builds belief. Belief drives action. You must also guard against comparison. When you compare your beginning to someone else's middle, you create frustration. Frustration reduces desire. Instead, compare yourself to your previous self. That comparison is fair. It is motivating. It is accurate. If you are slightly better than last month, you are on the right path. Your brain will eventually begin to associate effort with identity. It will say, "This is who I am. I grow. I improve. I move forward." When that identity forms, progress feels satisfying. The goal is not to chase excitement. The goal is to value improvement. Excitement fades. Improvement accumulates. There will be days when you feel tired. There will be days when results seem slow. On those days, return to your system. Complete the small task. Keep the streak alive. Protect the pattern. Each completed action strengthens the mental pathway that links effort to reward. Each day you follow through, you make it easier to do it again. That is how you train your brain. You are not forcing yourself forever. You are conditioning your mind to prefer growth over stagnation. Over time, your cravings shift. You begin to feel restless when you waste time. You feel energized when you learn. You feel satisfied when you finish important work. This is not magic, it is practice. Continuous success belongs to the person who finds satisfaction in steady progress, not in applause, not in quick recognition, in progress. When you learn to crave progress, you no longer depend on external validation. You generate your own momentum. You wake up with direction. You end the day with proof. That cycle repeated daily builds extraordinary outcomes. Train your brain patiently. Feed it evidence of growth. Protect your environment. Track your steps. Reflect honestly. Respond to setbacks calmly. Day after day, your desire for progress will grow stronger than your desire for comfort. And when that happens, success is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you build, one steady step at a time.
Chapter 3. Challenge limiting beliefs with daily proof. There is a quiet voice inside almost every person that says something small but damaging. It says you are not ready. It says you are not smart enough. It says people like you do not reach that level. It sounds calm. It sounds reasonable. It feels true. That voice is a limiting belief. A limiting belief is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it shows up in hesitation. You hold back from speaking. You delay sending the proposal. You avoid applying for the opportunity. You lower your goals before anyone else can question them. You call it being realistic. But deep down, it is fear dressed as logic. If you want continuous success, you cannot allow those beliefs to stay unchallenged. You must confront them, not with arguments, not with positive slogans, with daily proof. The mind changes when it sees evidence. It does not change because you repeat empty affirmations. It changes when your actions contradict your old story. Start by identifying one belief that has been quietly shaping your behavior. Be honest. Maybe you believe you are bad with money. Maybe you believe you are not leadership material. Maybe you believe you always quit. Maybe you believe you are too late to change. Do not judge the belief. Just name it clearly. When you name it, you bring it into the light. Hidden beliefs control you. Visible beliefs can be examined. Ask yourself where that belief came from. Was it a comment from a teacher years ago? Was it a mistake you made in your 20s? Was it a comparison to someone else? Most limiting beliefs are built from old experiences that no longer define your present ability, yet the brain stores emotional memories strongly. If you failed publicly once, the embarrassment may still live in your body. Your heart may beat faster when you consider trying again. That physical reaction reinforces the belief. This is where daily proof becomes powerful. You do not need to disprove the belief in one grand moment. You need to chip away at it consistently. If you believe you are bad with money, start tracking your spending daily. Read about financial basics for 15 minutes. Save a small amount consistently. Each action becomes a piece of evidence. If you believe you are not confident, practice speaking up once a day. It might be a small comment in a meeting. It might be asking a question in class. It might be expressing your opinion respectfully. After you do it, notice how you feel. Notice that the world did not collapse. Notice that you survived. That is proof. Proof reduces fear. When you gather daily evidence that contradicts your limiting belief, your brain begins to question the old story. It starts to say, maybe that belief is outdated. Maybe I am different now. Do not expect the belief to disappear instantly. Some beliefs were reinforced for years. They require consistent contradiction. That is why daily proof matters. Each evening, review your actions. Ask yourself, what did I do today that challenges my old belief? Write it down. When you write it, you anchor it. You transform a small action into a recorded victory. Over time, you build a list of proof. That list becomes hard to ignore. When the old voice whispers, you cannot do this, you can respond calmly, I have evidence that says otherwise. Another important step is changing your internal dialogue. When a limiting thought appears, do not accept it as fact. Treat it as a suggestion. Question it. Ask, is this absolutely true? Ask, what evidence do I have today that challenges this thought? This approach shifts you from being controlled by your mind to guiding it. Limiting beliefs often create avoidance. You avoid situations that might expose your weakness, but avoidance strengthens the belief. Each time you step back, your brain records it as confirmation. Instead, take small, controlled risks. If public speaking scares you, start by practicing in front of a mirror, then record yourself, then speak in front of a small group. Each step stretches your comfort zone slightly. Each step provides evidence that you are capable of growth. Pay attention to your body when you take these steps. You may feel nervous, your hands may shake, your voice may feel tight. That does not mean you are incapable. It means you are growing. Growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels natural. Your brain must learn that discomfort does not equal danger. When you move through discomfort safely, you reprogram that response. It is also important to separate identity from performance. A mistake does not define who you are. It defines what happened in that moment. When you attach identity to failure, you create a heavy belief. When you view mistakes as feedback, you create space for improvement. If you stumble, analyze what went wrong calmly. Adjust your approach. Try again. Each attempt adds to your proof. You must be patient but persistent. Some days the old belief will feel strong. On those days, focus even more on action. Action quiets doubt more effectively than thinking ever will. Surround yourself with examples of people who have grown beyond their starting point. Read their stories. Listen to their interviews. Notice how many of them began with limitations. Many successful individuals once believed they were not enough. They changed that belief through consistent effort. Their journeys are reminders that beliefs are flexible. At the same time, avoid comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Your daily proof is personal. It is about your growth, not someone else's timeline. Celebrate progress privately. You do not need applause for every step. You need internal acknowledgement. When you finish a task that once intimidated you, pause, feel the pride. Say to yourself clearly, I did that. That statement builds self-respect. Self-respect strengthens courage. As your courage grows, you will take on larger challenges. You will apply for positions you once thought were out of reach. You will start projects you once postponed. You will have conversations you once avoided. Each new action adds another layer of proof. Eventually, the limiting belief begins to lose its power. It may still appear occasionally, but it will sound weaker.
It will feel less convincing. You will have too much evidence against it. This transformation does not require perfection. It requires consistency. If you miss a day, return the next day. If you fall short, adjust and continue. The goal is not to prove yourself once. The goal is to build an ongoing record of capability. Remember that your brain is designed to conserve energy and avoid risk. Limiting beliefs often feel safe because they keep you in familiar territory. Challenging them requires intention, but the reward is freedom. Freedom to pursue opportunities without constant self-doubt. Freedom to express your ideas without fear of judgment. Freedom to aim higher without feeling like an imposter. That freedom is earned through daily proof. Look at your life honestly. Where have you already grown beyond old beliefs? There was a time when you thought you could not handle certain responsibilities, yet you did. There was a time when you feared certain situations, yet you survived them. Those past victories are evidence that change is possible. Use that memory as fuel. You are not locked into the identity you created years ago. You are shaped by what you repeatedly do now. Each day offers a chance to add new evidence. Take that chance seriously. Act deliberately. Track your proof. Speak to yourself with firmness and fairness. The beliefs that once held you back can be replaced with stronger ones. Not through hope, not through wishful thinking, through daily action that tells a new story. And when your story changes, your results follow. Challenge your limiting beliefs with daily proof, and you will discover that the boundaries you once accepted were never permanent. They were simply untested assumptions waiting to be replaced by evidence of your growth.
Chapter 4. Strengthen self-trust by keeping promises. There is one relationship that determines the quality of every other relationship in your life, and that is the relationship you have with yourself. At the center of that relationship is trust. If you do not trust yourself, you hesitate. You second-guess. You delay decisions. You look outside for constant reassurance. When you trust yourself, you move with clarity. You speak with certainty. You act without begging for approval. Self-trust is not built by talent. It is not built by intelligence. It is built by keeping promises you make to yourself. Every day you make small promises. Some are spoken out loud. Some are quiet thoughts in your mind. I will wake up early tomorrow. I will finish this task. I will start eating better. I will call that person. I will stop procrastinating. These promises may seem small, but they carry weight. Each time you keep one, your inner foundation becomes stronger. Each time you break one, a small crack forms. Most people do not notice the cracks because they form slowly. You say you will start on Monday. Monday arrives and you delay. You tell yourself you will exercise after work. After work you feel tired and skip it. You promise to focus for 1 hour. 10 minutes later, you reach for your phone. These moments feel harmless, but your mind is watching. It records your behavior. It builds a pattern. If the pattern becomes inconsistent, your confidence weakens. You begin to doubt your own words. You think twice before committing to something because you are unsure whether you will follow through. That uncertainty creates stress. It makes simple decisions feel heavy. Continuous success requires a stable inner base. That base is self-trust. To strengthen it, you must start small and become serious about your word. Do not begin with extreme commitments. Begin with promises you can realistically keep. If you say you will read for 10 minutes, read for 10 minutes. If you say you will save a specific amount this week, save it. If you say you will go to bed at a certain time, prepare for sleep accordingly. When you complete what you said you would do, pause and recognize it. Feel the quiet strength that follows. That strength is earned. Keeping promises to yourself may not impress others, but it transforms your inner world. You start to believe in your own capability. You stop seeing yourself as someone who always tries and start seeing yourself as someone who finishes. This shift affects every area of life. When an opportunity appears, you feel ready to take it because you trust your ability to handle responsibility. When a challenge arises, you remain steady because you have proven to yourself that you follow through. There will be moments when temptation appears. You will feel the urge to break your commitment for comfort or convenience. In those moments, slow down. Remind yourself that you are not just choosing between two actions. You are choosing between strengthening or weakening your self-trust. That awareness changes the decision. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. If you miss a commitment, do not collapse into guilt. Address it directly. Admit that you fell short. Then reset immediately. Make the next promise clear and keep it. Quick recovery preserves trust. Another important factor is honesty in your commitments. Do not promise what you know you cannot sustain. If you commit to waking up 2 hours earlier overnight, you may fail quickly. That failure damages confidence. Instead, adjust gradually. Shift your wake-up time by 15 minutes. Build success step by step. Real strength grows from repeated wins, not dramatic declarations. Speak carefully to yourself. Avoid exaggerated statements like, "I will never fail again," or "I will change everything at once." Those statements sound powerful, but create pressure. Pressure without preparation leads to disappointment. Choose steady words. Say, "I will improve this area today." Say, "I will complete this task before I rest." Then act. When you consistently match your words with your actions, your internal dialogue becomes more respectful. You stop arguing with yourself. You stop negotiating endlessly. You make a decision and carry it out. This discipline does not remove freedom, it creates freedom. When you trust yourself, you are not trapped by doubt. You move forward without constant internal debate. Self-trust also affects how others see you. People sense reliability. When you say you will do something and you deliver, your credibility increases. But more importantly, you feel aligned. There is no hidden tension between what you say and what you do. Alignment creates peace of mind. Think about a time when you followed through on a difficult commitment. Maybe you completed a challenging course. Maybe you stayed consistent with a health routine. Maybe you finished a project despite obstacles. Remember the feeling in your body when it was done. There was pride, there was relief, there was strength. That feeling came from honoring your word. Now imagine building that feeling daily. The process is simple but not easy. Decide what matters, make clear commitments, execute them, review your performance honestly, adjust when necessary. It also helps to write your promises down. A written commitment carries weight. It moves your intention from a vague thought to a clear agreement. When you see it on paper, it feels real. Crossing it off at the end of the day feels satisfying. That visual completion reinforces your reliability. Guard your focus. Distractions are often the reason promises are broken. Create an environment that supports your commitment. If you plan to work on a task, remove unnecessary notifications. If you plan to eat healthier, prepare your meals in advance. Reduce friction so your follow-through becomes smoother. Each completed promise strengthens your identity. You start to see yourself as dependable. That identity shapes your behavior automatically. When you face a choice, you ask, "What would a reliable person do?" Then you act accordingly. This internal standard guides you even when no one is watching. Over time, your promises can grow in size. As your self-trust deepens, you can take on larger goals. You can commit to bigger projects because you know you will not abandon them easily. Your confidence will not be loud or dramatic. It will be calm and grounded. There will still be hard days. On those days, your commitment may feel heavier. But remember why you began. You are not just completing tasks, you are building trust with yourself. That trust is worth protecting. Pay attention to the language you use when you speak about your goals. Avoid saying, "I hope I can do this." Instead say, "I will work toward this daily." Hope without action is fragile. Commitment backed by action is strong. Strengthening self-trust requires courage because it demands honesty. You must admit when you procrastinate. You must admit when you overpromise. You must admit when you avoid effort. That honesty is not weakness, it is maturity. Mature individuals understand that their word matters, not only to others but to themselves. As your self-trust grows, you will notice subtle changes. You will feel less anxious before starting something new. You will stop seeking constant validation. You will become more decisive. Decisions become easier when you trust your follow-through. Continuous success is not a mystery. It is built on small acts of integrity repeated daily. Integrity with yourself means doing what you said you would do, even when you do not feel like it. It means respecting your own standards. It means valuing your future self enough to act today. Your future self is shaped by the promises you keep now. Imagine looking back after a year of consistent follow-through. Imagine seeing a record of kept commitments. That record would tell a powerful story. It would say you are dependable. It would say you are disciplined.
It would say you can handle responsibility. That story builds momentum for greater achievements. Do not underestimate the power of one kept promise. It may seem small, but it builds internal strength. Strength creates resilience. Resilience supports long-term progress. Every day offers new chances to prove to yourself that your word has value. Take those chances seriously. Treat your commitments with respect. Complete what you begin. Finish what you schedule. Show up when you said you would. With each promise honored, your self-trust deepens. And when you trust yourself fully, there is a calm confidence that cannot be shaken easily. That confidence becomes the foundation for continuous success.
Chapter 5. Shift your identity through consistent action. There is a powerful truth many people avoid facing. You do not act based on your goals, you act based on who you believe you are. Identity drives behavior. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, your choices will reflect that belief. If you see yourself as someone who grows, your daily actions will support that image. Changing results without changing identity creates frustration. You may try a new routine for a week. You may feel motivated for a short period. But if your inner label remains the same, your behavior will eventually return to old patterns. If you want continuous success, you must shift your identity. And identity does not change through words alone. It changes through consistent action. Identity is built from repeated evidence. The brain forms a picture of who you are based on what you do regularly. If you often delay important tasks, your mind concludes that you are a procrastinator. If you regularly exercise, your mind accepts that you are someone who values health. These labels are not permanent. They are conclusions based on patterns. The encouraging part is this: patterns can be rebuilt. Start by deciding who you want to become, not in vague terms. Be specific. Do you want to become disciplined, reliable, focused, healthy, courageous, clear on your standards? Once you choose that identity, ask yourself one simple question: what does a person like that do daily? A disciplined person completes tasks even when it feels inconvenient. A focused person limits distractions. A healthy person respects sleep and nutrition. A courageous person speaks honestly, even when nervous. You do not need to become that person overnight. You need to act like that person today. When you act in alignment with your desired identity, even in a small way, you cast a vote for that version of yourself. Each action is a vote. One vote may not change the result. Many votes create a clear outcome. If you want to see yourself as someone who finishes what they start, choose one small project and complete it fully. It may be cleaning your workspace. It may be finishing a book. It may be completing a course. Completion sends a signal to your brain. It says, this is who I am becoming. The key is repetition. You must repeat actions that match your desired identity until your brain accepts the new pattern as normal. Consistency removes internal resistance. At first, acting differently may feel forced. That is natural. You are stepping beyond familiar behavior. Over time, the discomfort fades. Be careful not to wait until you feel like a new person before acting. Feeling follows action. Many people believe they must feel confident before speaking up. In reality, confidence grows after speaking up repeatedly. Many believe they must feel motivated before exercising. In truth, motivation increases after exercising consistently. Your behavior shapes your self-image. There will be moments when your old identity tries to pull you back. You may hear thoughts such as this is not really you, or you always go back to your old habits. Recognize these thoughts without obeying them. Continue acting according to your chosen standard. The power lies in quiet persistence. Track your behavior honestly. At the end of each day, review whether your actions matched the identity you are building. If you want to become focused, ask yourself if you managed your time well. If you want to become reliable, ask if you kept your commitments. This review is not for self-criticism, it is for alignment. When you notice misalignment, adjust quickly, make a small correction the next day. Do not allow one off-track moment to define your direction. Your environment can either support or weaken your identity shift. If you are trying to become disciplined, but keep surrounding yourself with constant distraction, your progress will slow. Create conditions that match your new identity.
Organize your workspace, set boundaries on your time, choose influences that reinforce growth. Language also plays a role. Stop saying I am trying to change. Instead say, I am becoming more disciplined through daily action. The phrase you use matters because it reflects commitment. Identity change requires patience. Some days you will feel strong, other days you may feel uncertain. Continue acting in alignment regardless of mood. Mood is temporary. Repeated action builds structure. It is important to focus on process rather than immediate outcome. If you want to become a writer, focus on writing daily instead of worrying about publication. If you want to become financially responsible, focus on managing money wisely each week instead of obsessing over large numbers. The process builds identity. The outcome follows naturally. When you look back after several months of consistent action, you will notice something surprising. The behaviors that once required effort will feel automatic. The person you wanted to become will feel familiar. That familiarity is the sign that your identity has shifted. Another powerful practice is visualizing your future self in detail. Imagine how that person moves through the day. Imagine how they respond to stress. Imagine how they speak. Then ask yourself what action you can take right now that aligns with that version. Small aligned actions accumulate. Do not underestimate the impact of tiny choices. Choosing to read instead of scrolling. Choosing to prepare instead of procrastinate. Choosing to listen instead of react. These choices may seem minor, but they define character over time. Character is simply identity expressed consistently. You may encounter criticism from others who are comfortable with your old version. Change can make people uneasy. Stay steady. You are not changing for approval. You are changing to honor your potential. When doubt appears, return to evidence. Look at the record of actions you have taken. See how many days you acted in alignment. That record is proof of transformation. You are not limited by your past behavior. You are shaped by your present habits. Every day offers a new chance to reinforce your chosen identity. When you wake up, remind yourself of who you are becoming, then take one action that confirms it. If you want to become resilient, face a task you would normally avoid. If you want to become patient, pause before responding in a tense moment. If you want to become knowledgeable, study consistently. Over time, your internal dialogue changes. Instead of saying, I hope I can maintain this, you say, this is how I operate. That statement carries strength. Continuous success belongs to those who align actions with identity repeatedly, not once, not occasionally, repeatedly. You do not need dramatic breakthroughs. You need steady alignment. As your identity evolves, your standards rise. You begin to expect more from yourself. You handle challenges with maturity. You approach goals with discipline. You recover from setbacks without losing direction. That growth is not accidental. It is built through consistent action. Look at your life today and ask honestly, what identity is my current behavior supporting? If it is not the identity you desire, adjust your actions. Choose differently. Act intentionally. One day of alignment may feel small. 30 days create momentum. A year creates transformation. Shift your identity through consistent action, and you will not need to chase success. Your behavior will naturally produce it.
Chapter 6. Build emotional control with mindful daily choices. One of the greatest skills you can ever develop is emotional control. Not the ability to hide your feelings, not the habit of pretending everything is fine. Real emotional control means you understand what you feel, and you choose your response instead of reacting on impulse. Every single day, life gives you small emotional tests. Someone disagrees with you, traffic slows you down, a message goes unanswered, a plan falls apart, a mistake happens. In those moments, your body reacts before your mind has time to think. Your heart rate shifts, your muscles tighten, your thoughts speed up. That reaction is natural. What matters is what you do next. Continuous success is not only about discipline and action, it is about stability under pressure. If your emotions control your choices, your progress becomes unpredictable. If you learn to guide your emotions with awareness, your decisions become steady. Emotional control is built through mindful daily choices. Mindfulness is not complicated. It simply means paying attention. It means noticing what is happening inside you without rushing to act. When frustration rises, pause. Feel it in your chest or your stomach. Recognize it clearly. Say to yourself, I am feeling frustrated right now. That small act of awareness creates space. That space is powerful. It separates feeling from behavior. Most people skip that space. They react instantly. They send the angry message. They speak sharply. They quit the task. Later, they regret it. Regret drains energy. It weakens confidence. It damages relationships. You can avoid that cycle by training yourself to slow down in emotional moments. Start with simple situations. When someone interrupts you, instead of snapping back, take one breath. When you feel the urge to check your phone during focused work, pause and ask yourself why. When you receive criticism, resist the need to defend immediately. Listen fully before responding. These small choices strengthen your emotional muscles. Your emotions are signals. They are not commands. Anger may signal that a boundary was crossed. Fear may signal uncertainty. Sadness may signal loss. But signals do not require automatic reaction. They require understanding. When you treat emotions as information, you gain control. There will be days when stress builds quietly. You may not even realize it until you feel overwhelmed. That is why daily reflection is important. At the end of the day, review moments where your emotions were tested. Ask yourself how you responded. Did you react impulsively or choose calmly? This review builds awareness for the future. Emotional control also requires physical awareness. Your body often reacts before your thoughts form. Pay attention to signs such as tight shoulders, shallow breathing, or clenched fists. These are early warnings. When you notice them, take deliberate breaths. Slow your breathing. Relax your posture. Physical calm supports mental calm. Another important factor is your inner dialogue. What you say to yourself during emotional moments shapes your reaction. If you think this always happens to me, or I cannot handle this, your stress increases. If you think this is uncomfortable but manageable, your mind stays clearer. Choose language that supports stability. It is also helpful to reduce unnecessary emotional triggers. If certain environments increase your irritation, limit your exposure when possible. If specific conversations consistently create tension, prepare yourself before entering them. Preparation strengthens composure. Remember that emotional control does not mean suppressing feelings. Suppression stores tension. Control means acknowledging emotion and choosing a constructive response. For example, if you feel disappointed after a setback, allow yourself to feel it briefly. Then shift your focus to what can be improved. Ask yourself what lesson can be learned. This redirection turns emotion into growth. Consistency is essential. You cannot expect to master emotional control in extreme situations if you ignore small daily moments. Practice calm responses in everyday interactions. Practice patience in minor inconveniences. Practice listening fully before speaking. These daily choices create a stable foundation. It is also important to manage expectations. Unrealistic expectations often create frustration. If you expect everything to go perfectly, you will feel upset frequently. Accept that challenges are part of progress. When something goes wrong, see it as a normal part of effort rather than a personal attack. Gratitude can also strengthen emotional balance. When you focus only on problems, your mind becomes tense. When you intentionally recognize what is working well, your perspective broadens. Each evening, identify a few positive moments from your day. This practice shifts your emotional baseline towards stability. Sleep, nutrition, and movement also affect emotional control. When you are exhausted or physically unwell, your reactions become sharper. Take care of your body as part of your emotional strategy. Rest properly, eat with intention, move regularly. A healthy body supports a steady mind. Another powerful practice is delaying reaction. If you receive a message that upsets you, do not respond immediately. Give yourself time to think clearly. If you are about to make a decision while angry, step away briefly. Distance often reduces intensity. Over time, you will notice that emotional waves pass more quickly. What once felt overwhelming will feel manageable. Your recovery time will shorten. Instead of carrying frustration for hours, you will release it sooner. That improvement builds confidence. You will trust yourself in high-pressure moments.
People who master emotional control are not emotionless. They feel deeply. The difference is that they remain in charge of their choices. They do not allow temporary feelings to dictate long-term decisions. This skill influences every area of life. In relationships, it creates respect and understanding. In work, it supports clear thinking. In personal growth, it protects consistency. When you respond calmly during tension, others notice. They feel safer speaking honestly. They trust your leadership. Stability attracts opportunity. There will be moments when you fail. You may lose patience. You may speak too quickly. When that happens, take responsibility. Apologize if necessary. Reflect on what triggered the reaction. Plan how to handle it better next time. This honest correction strengthens maturity. Emotional control is not about perfection. It is about progress. Each mindful choice you make strengthens your ability to pause and choose wisely. Over months and years, this ability becomes part of your character. Imagine facing a serious challenge with steady breathing, clear thoughts and measured words. Imagine responding to criticism with calm reflection instead of defensiveness. Imagine handling setbacks without losing motivation. These outcomes are possible when you train yourself daily. Continuous success requires emotional steadiness. Goals require patience. Growth requires resilience. Both depend on your ability to manage your internal world. Start today with one simple practice. Before reacting, breathe once. Before speaking, think briefly. Before deciding, evaluate your state of mind. These small mindful choices accumulate. As you strengthen emotional control, you will feel lighter. You will experience fewer regrets. You will conserve energy that was once lost to unnecessary reactions. You will move through life with greater clarity and strength. Build emotional control with mindful daily choices, and you will create a foundation that supports lasting progress in every area of your life.
Chapter 7. Replace negative self-talk with honest encouragement. There is a conversation happening inside your mind every single day. It begins the moment you wake up and continues until you fall asleep. That conversation shapes your mood, your confidence, your decisions, and your future. Most people are unaware of how powerful it is. They accept whatever voice speaks the loudest without questioning it. For many, that voice is harsh. It points out mistakes quickly. It exaggerates flaws. It reminds you of past failures. It compares you to others. It says you are behind. It says you are not capable. It says you always mess things up. Over time, if you listen without challenge, that voice becomes your identity. Negative self-talk is not harmless. It drains motivation. It weakens courage. It slows action. It builds a heavy emotional weight that you carry into every opportunity. Continuous success requires a different internal tone. It requires honest encouragement. Honest encouragement does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It does not mean ignoring mistakes. It means speaking to yourself in a way that supports growth instead of crushing it. Start by noticing your internal language. Pay attention to what you say to yourself when something goes wrong. When you miss a deadline, what is your first thought? When you look in the mirror, what do you think? When you face a challenge, what words appear in your mind? Awareness is the first step. You cannot change a voice you refuse to hear. Write down common negative phrases you repeat. Perhaps you often think, I am not good at this. Maybe you tell yourself, I always quit. Maybe you think, I am too slow, or I am not talented enough. Seeing these phrases on paper helps you understand how often you criticize yourself. Now examine whether those statements are fully true. Usually they are exaggerated. You may have struggled before, but that does not mean you are incapable. You may have made mistakes, but that does not define your entire ability. Replace harsh statements with balanced truth. Instead of saying, I am terrible at this, say, I am still learning and improving. Instead of saying, I always fail, say, I have made mistakes, but I can adjust and try again. These replacements are not fake positivity. They are accurate and constructive. Your brain responds to repeated language. If you consistently speak with fairness and support, your emotional state changes. You begin to feel stronger and more capable. There is a difference between criticism and correction. Criticism attacks identity. Correction focuses on behavior. If you miss a workout, negative self-talk may say you are lazy. Honest encouragement would say you skipped today, but you can return tomorrow and stay consistent.
This shift preserves confidence while still holding you accountable. Imagine how you would speak to a close friend who is trying to improve. You would not insult them. You would not remind them of every past mistake. You would acknowledge their effort. You would offer advice calmly. You would encourage persistence. You deserve the same tone. Encouragement fuels action. When you believe improvement is possible, you are more willing to try again. When you believe you are hopeless, effort feels pointless. Your internal voice influences your energy level. Negative self-talk creates tension in your body. Your shoulders tighten. Your breathing shortens. Your focus narrows. Encouraging thoughts create steadiness. Your posture relaxes. Your mind clears. You think more creatively. Pay attention to how your body reacts to your words. Another important practice is celebrating effort, not only results. If you worked hard on a project but did not achieve the exact outcome you wanted, acknowledge the effort. Say to yourself, I prepared seriously and gave my best today. That recognition builds resilience. Resilience grows when you feel supported, even by yourself. You must also be careful with comparison. Comparing your progress to someone else's highlight moments can trigger harsh inner dialogue. Instead of comparing, focus on your improvement over time. Look at where you were months ago. Notice the skills you have developed. This evidence strengthens positive internal speech. Morning routines can set the tone for your self-talk. When you wake up, choose one intentional statement. It might be, I will handle today with focus and patience. It might be, I am building discipline step by step. Starting your day with intention influences your thoughts throughout the day. Evening reflection is equally important. Before sleeping, identify something you handled well. It may be small. Maybe you stayed calm in a difficult conversation. Maybe you finished a task you wanted to avoid. Recognizing these moments builds a balanced internal record. Negative self-talk often focuses only on errors and ignores successes. Honest encouragement includes both areas for improvement and recognition of progress. When facing fear, your inner voice can either increase anxiety or provide strength. If you tell yourself, I cannot handle this, your fear grows. If you tell yourself, this is challenging, but I am prepared to face it, your courage rises. The situation remains the same, but your mental frame shifts. Practice catching negative thoughts quickly. When you hear a harsh statement, pause and question it. Ask whether it is helpful. Ask whether it reflects the whole truth, then consciously replace it with a constructive version. At first, this process may feel unnatural. That is normal. You have likely practiced negative self-talk for years. Changing it requires repetition. Be patient with yourself as you retrain your inner voice. It is also important to limit external negativity. If you constantly listen to people who criticize without offering solutions, your internal dialogue may mirror that tone. Choose influences that promote growth and accountability without cruelty. You do not need constant praise. You need balanced support. There will be days when you feel discouraged. On those days, speak to yourself with firmness and kindness. Say, I am disappointed, but I am not defeated. Say, I will learn from this experience and improve. These statements keep you moving forward. Your inner voice becomes stronger with practice. Over time, it will naturally respond to challenges with encouragement instead of criticism. Confidence is not built by pretending you are perfect. It is built by knowing you can improve and trusting yourself to keep trying. When you replace negative self-talk with honest encouragement, your motivation becomes stable. You no longer rely on external validation. You create your own support system internally. This change influences every part of your life. You take more risks because you know you will not attack yourself if you fall short. You pursue goals with more energy because you believe growth is possible. You recover from setbacks faster because you speak with understanding rather than shame. Continuous success requires internal strength. That strength is built through the words you repeat daily. Listen carefully to your thoughts. Adjust them intentionally. Encourage yourself honestly. Hold yourself accountable without cruelty. Over time, your inner dialogue will become a source of power rather than pressure. And when your mind becomes a place of support instead of criticism, your progress accelerates naturally.
Chapter 8. Grow confidence by tracking visible improvement. Confidence is not something you wait to feel. It is something you build through evidence. Many people think confidence comes from personality, talent, or praise from others. In reality, confidence grows when you can clearly see your own improvement. If progress stays invisible, doubt grows easily.
You may be working hard every day, but if you do not measure your movement, your mind may tell you that nothing is changing. When that thought settles in, motivation drops. You begin to question your effort. You feel stuck even when you are not. To grow real confidence, you must track visible improvement. Your mind believes what it sees. When you create clear records of growth, you give your brain proof. Proof builds certainty. Certainty builds confidence. Start by choosing one area of your life where you want to improve. It could be your health, your focus, your finances, your communication skills, or your discipline. Once you choose the area, decide how you will measure progress. Keep it simple. If it is health, track your workouts or daily steps. If it is learning, track the number of pages read or hours studied. If it is business, track tasks completed or skills developed. Clarity makes tracking powerful. Do not rely on memory. Memory is emotional. On a bad day, you may forget how far you have come. Write your progress down. Use a notebook, a calendar, or a simple digital list. Each recorded action becomes a mark of growth. There is something powerful about seeing a series of completed days. It creates momentum. It shows you that your effort is real. When you look back at the previous month and see consistent action, your mind begins to trust your commitment. Confidence grows when you recognize patterns of effort. Tracking also reveals improvement that might otherwise go unnoticed. For example, if you are practicing a skill, your daily progress may feel small, but when you compare your current ability to where you started weeks ago, the difference becomes clear. That comparison builds pride. Pride rooted in effort is healthy. It encourages continuation. Another benefit of tracking is accountability. When you know you will record your actions at the end of the day, you are more likely to follow through. The act of writing it down creates responsibility. You are not hiding from yourself. Make your tracking visible. Place your notebook where you can see it. Keep your calendar accessible. Visibility reinforces intention. It is also important to track both actions and outcomes when possible. Actions are within your control. Outcomes are results that follow. For example, if you are working on public speaking, track the number of times you practice and the feedback you receive. Over time, you will notice smoother delivery and stronger presence. That visible improvement strengthens your belief in your ability. Do not wait for massive breakthroughs. Celebrate gradual progress. If your endurance increases slightly, acknowledge it. If your writing improves in clarity, notice it. If your patience lasts longer in stressful situations, record it. These improvements may seem small, but they shape your identity. When doubt appears, return to your records. Look at the evidence. Remind yourself of the hours invested and the tasks completed. Let the proof speak louder than temporary emotion. Confidence built on visible improvement is steady. It does not depend on compliments. It does not disappear after one mistake. It stands on a foundation of consistent effort. Tracking also reveals areas where you may need adjustment. If you notice gaps in your consistency, you can address them directly. Instead of guessing why you feel stuck, you have data. You can see patterns clearly. This clarity reduces frustration. It replaces confusion with direction. Make your tracking specific and measurable. Instead of writing "I worked hard today," write "I completed 3 focused sessions of 30 minutes each." Specific records create stronger proof. You can also use before and after comparisons. If you are improving your physical strength, note your starting numbers. Revisit them after several weeks. If you are developing a new skill, record an early version of your work. Compare it to a later version. The difference will motivate you. Visible progress changes posture. When you know you have improved, you stand differently. You speak with greater certainty. You take on challenges with less hesitation. There will be days when progress feels slow. On those days, your records remind you that growth is happening. They protect you from discouragement. Consistency in tracking matters. Set aside a few minutes each evening to update your record. Make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. This small habit reinforces your commitment to growth. Be honest in your tracking. Do not exaggerate your effort. Do not hide missed actions. Accuracy builds integrity. Integrity strengthens self-respect. Over time, you will build a personal history of improvement. That history becomes a powerful resource. When facing a new goal, you can look back and say, "I have grown before. I can grow again." This belief is earned. Tracking also helps you refine your strategy. If one method is not producing improvement, you can adjust. You are not operating blindly. You are responding to visible evidence. Share your progress with someone you trust if it helps. External accountability can add motivation, but remember that the primary goal is internal confidence. Avoid comparing your visible improvement to someone else's results. Focus on your starting point. Your journey is unique. Your confidence should come from your own progress. Confidence grows when you see proof that your effort leads to change. Without proof, doubt fills the space. Make your improvement tangible. Use charts, lists, journals, or progress photos if appropriate. Create a system that makes growth impossible to ignore. As weeks turn into months, your record will tell a story. It will show persistence, learning, correction, and advancement. That story will shape how you see yourself. You will stop describing yourself as someone who hopes to improve. You will see yourself as someone who consistently improves. This shift influences every area of life. You will approach opportunities with readiness. You will handle setbacks with perspective. You will set higher standards because you trust your ability to reach them. Grow confidence by tracking visible improvement. Let your effort become measurable. Let your progress become undeniable. When you can see your growth clearly, you no longer question your potential. You know you are moving forward, and that knowledge creates powerful, lasting confidence.
Chapter 9. Create momentum by acting before doubt speaks. There is a small window that opens every time you decide to improve something. It might last a few seconds. It might last a few minutes. In that window, you feel clear. You know what needs to be done. You feel a push to act. Then, if you wait too long, another voice arrives. That voice questions your ability. It reminds you of risk. It suggests delay. It sounds reasonable. That is doubt. If you allow doubt to speak long enough, it weakens your energy. It slows your movement. It convinces you to postpone. Over time, hesitation becomes a habit. Continuous success belongs to those who act before doubt takes control. Doubt is not evil. It is a protective instinct. It tries to keep you safe from embarrassment, failure, and discomfort. But growth requires discomfort. If you wait until you feel completely certain, you will rarely begin. Momentum is created through immediate action. When you think about starting a workout, send the message before you reconsider. When you consider applying for an opportunity, fill out the form before you analyze every possible outcome. When you know you need to make a call, dial before your mind creates excuses. Small decisive actions interrupt overthinking. Your brain often magnifies challenges when given too much time. It imagines worst-case scenarios. It exaggerates difficulty. It predicts rejection. These thoughts feel real, even when they are not based on facts. Action breaks that cycle. When you take the first step quickly, you reduce the time available for doubt to build. You move from thinking to doing. Once you begin, momentum grows naturally. Starting is usually the hardest part. Train yourself to respond to intention with movement. When you feel the urge to improve, act within minutes. Stand up, open the document, put on your shoes, send the email, begin the conversation. This habit strengthens decisiveness. Decisiveness builds confidence because it proves you trust your judgment. Even if the result is not perfect, you learn faster by acting than by hesitating. Many people delay because they want clarity before action. In reality, clarity often follows action. When you start working, your mind focuses. When you engage with the task, ideas emerge. When you speak, your thoughts organize themselves. Waiting for perfect clarity keeps you stuck. Create simple rules for yourself. For example, if a task takes less than 5 minutes, do it immediately. If you schedule a focused work session, begin at the exact time without negotiation. These rules reduce internal debate. Debate drains energy. Another strategy is breaking large tasks into small first steps. Doubt grows when a task feels overwhelming. If you want to write a book, start with 1 page. If you want to improve your health, begin with 1 workout. If you want to learn a skill, start with 1 lesson. Small beginnings reduce fear. Your body responds differently when you act quickly. There is a sense of engagement. Your posture shifts. Your breathing deepens. You feel involved instead of stuck. This physical shift supports mental momentum. Momentum creates motivation. When you complete 1 task, you feel progress.
That feeling encourages the next action. Soon you are in motion. Motion is powerful because it builds rhythm. Rhythm reduces resistance. Doubt thrives in stillness. It grows when you sit and analyze endlessly. It weakens when you move with purpose. There will be moments when doubt still appears after you start. That is normal. Continue working anyway. Focus on the next small action instead of the entire outcome. Each completed step reinforces forward movement. It is important to accept that not every action will lead to immediate success. Some attempts will fail. Some ideas will need revision. That is part of growth. Acting quickly does not guarantee perfection. It guarantees learning. Learning accelerates improvement. Pay attention to how you feel after acting decisively. Notice the relief that follows. Notice the sense of control. You may still feel nervous, but you also feel alive. That energy is a sign of engagement with life. Hesitation often leaves a different feeling. It creates tension. You think about what you should have done. You replay missed opportunities. Regret feels heavier than temporary fear. Choose the lighter path. Morning routines offer a powerful opportunity to practice acting before doubt speaks. When the alarm rings, stand up immediately. Do not negotiate. That small action sets the tone for the day. It sends a message that you move when you decide. Throughout the day, look for small opportunities to strengthen this habit. Speak up in a meeting when you have an idea. Begin a task before checking your phone. Make a healthy choice without debating. Each immediate action builds internal momentum. Your environment can support this habit. Reduce distractions that encourage delay. Keep your workspace organized. Prepare materials in advance. Make starting easier than postponing. Preparation supports quick action. Another key is limiting unnecessary options. Too many choices create paralysis. Decide in advance what your priorities are. When it is time to work, focus on the top task. Simplicity speeds movement. Understand that doubt often disguises itself as logic. It may say you need more research. It may suggest waiting for a better time. Sometimes preparation is wise, but often delay is avoidance. Ask yourself honestly whether you are preparing or postponing. Trust is built through action. When you repeatedly respond to intention with movement, you begin to see yourself as decisive. That identity strengthens over time. Decisive individuals create opportunities. They meet people. They share ideas. They test strategies. They gather experience. All of this accelerates growth. Continuous success is fueled by forward motion. Small daily actions accumulate into significant progress. There will be days when energy feels low. On those days, start with something tiny. Clean one surface, write one paragraph, take one step. Once you begin, energy often follows. You are not required to feel ready. You are required to move. When facing a major decision, set a reasonable deadline for yourself. Gather necessary information, then choose. Indecision wastes time and mental strength. Remember that every successful person has acted without complete certainty. They moved despite questions. They began before feeling fully prepared. Courage is not the absence of doubt. It is action in the presence of doubt. By acting quickly, you shorten the gap between idea and execution. That gap is where many dreams disappear. Create momentum by acting before doubt speaks. Make it a daily practice. Start quickly, move consistently, adjust as you go. Over time, you will notice a powerful change. You will spend less time trapped in thought and more time creating results. That shift will transform your confidence, your productivity, and your future.
Chapter 10. Shape your future through disciplined daily behavior. Your future is not created in one dramatic moment. It is created in ordinary days that seem small while you are living them. The way you spend your mornings, the way you handle your responsibilities, the way you respond when no one is watching. These quiet choices shape where you will stand years from now. Many people think the future is something that happens to them. They hope for better opportunities. They wait for the right timing. They expect motivation to carry them forward. But hope without discipline leads to disappointment. Motivation without structure fades quickly. If you want to shape your future with intention, you must rely on disciplined daily behavior. Discipline is often misunderstood. It is not punishment. It is not harsh self-control. It is a decision to act in alignment with your long-term goals, even when short-term comfort calls your name. Every day presents two paths. One path offers ease. It asks nothing from you. It gives immediate comfort. The other path requires effort. It may feel inconvenient. It demands focus. The difference between these two paths determines the direction of your life. Disciplined behavior means choosing the path that builds strength, even when it feels harder in the moment. When you wake up at the time you decided, you are shaping your future. When you focus on important work instead of distractions, you are shaping your future. When you prepare instead of procrastinate, you are shaping your future. These decisions seem small, but they accumulate. Your future is the sum of repeated days. Think about how skills are built. No one becomes excellent in a week. Skill grows through repetition. Discipline ensures repetition. Without discipline, effort becomes inconsistent. Inconsistency weakens progress. You may not see dramatic change after a single day of disciplined action. That is normal. Growth is often invisible at first, but discipline compounds quietly. After months of steady behavior, results become undeniable. To build disciplined daily behavior, start with clarity. Know what matters most in your life. Identify the areas that require consistent attention: health, learning, finances, relationships, personal development. Choose specific behaviors that support these areas. For example, if you value health, commit to daily movement and balanced meals. If you value growth, commit to reading or learning each day. If you value financial stability, commit to managing your money responsibly. Write these behaviors down. Make them visible. Discipline thrives on clarity. Create a daily structure that supports your commitments. Set specific times for focused work. Allocate time for reflection. Limit distractions during important tasks. Structure reduces the need for constant decision-making. When you remove unnecessary choices, you preserve energy for meaningful action. Discipline also requires boundaries. Protect your time from activities that do not serve your goals. Learn to say no when necessary. Each time you protect your priorities, you strengthen your future. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. You may feel tired or discouraged. On those days, remind yourself that you are not just completing tasks. You are building a foundation for the life you want. Your future self depends on your present discipline. Avoid the trap of extreme ambition without sustainable behavior. Setting unrealistic goals often leads to burnout. Instead, choose habits you can maintain consistently. Steady effort produces reliable results. Discipline is strengthened through routine. When you repeat the same positive behaviors daily, they become automatic. Automation reduces resistance. Resistance often disappears when behavior becomes familiar. Be patient with the process. You are training your mind and body to operate at a higher standard. Another important aspect of discipline is integrity. Do what you said you would do, even when it feels inconvenient. This builds internal respect. When you respect yourself, you operate with greater confidence. Your environment influences discipline significantly. Keep your workspace organized. Remove distractions from your immediate surroundings. Surround yourself with reminders of your goals. These small adjustments support consistent behavior. It is also helpful to review your day each evening. Ask yourself whether your actions aligned with your intentions. If they did, acknowledge it. If they did not, identify what needs adjustment. Honest review strengthens accountability. Do not allow one-off day to become a pattern. When you fall short, correct quickly. Discipline grows through recovery as much as through consistency. Understand that discipline is freedom in disguise. When you manage your time well, you experience less stress. When you maintain healthy habits, you feel stronger. When you handle responsibilities early, you avoid last-minute pressure. Freedom comes from structure. Your future is shaped by patterns. If your pattern is distraction and delay, your results will reflect that. If your pattern is focus and completion, your results will reflect that instead. Look at where you want to be 5 years from now. Then look at your daily behavior. Are your actions pointing in that direction? If not, adjust now. The earlier you align your behavior with your vision, the stronger your progress will be. You cannot control every external factor. Challenges will appear. Circumstances will change. Discipline gives you stability within uncertainty. It ensures that you continue moving forward, even when conditions are not perfect. Disciplined individuals do not rely on mood. They rely on standards. They do not wait for inspiration. They act based on commitment. Standards protect your future. When you raise your standards, your behavior follows. You expect more from yourself. You choose actions that reflect your values. Over time, these actions define your character. Character shapes destiny. Your daily behavior also influences how others see you.
When you show up consistently, complete tasks responsibly, and manage your commitments well, people trust you. Trust opens doors. Opportunities often come to those who demonstrate reliability, but the greatest reward of discipline is internal. You feel in control of your direction. You experience less regret. You build confidence rooted in action. Imagine looking back after a year of disciplined daily behavior. Imagine the skills developed, the progress made, the strength gained. That vision can become reality if you start now. Do not underestimate today. Today is shaping tomorrow. The habits you practice this week are building the foundation for the coming years. Choose discipline, not as a burden, but as a tool. Use it to design your days intentionally. Use it to protect your goals. Use it to shape your future. Every focused hour, every responsible decision, every completed task moves you closer to the life you envision. Shape your future through disciplined daily behavior, and you will discover that success is not an accident. It is the natural result of consistent, intentional living.